all very welcome to our Midweek Exhale. My name's Marie, and I'm one half of the Exhale Awakening, and somewhere on your screen is Sharon, who's the other half of the Exhale Awakening. And we open this space and guide this space on a Wednesday, what is evening for both of us, but I do appreciate it may not be evening for everybody who watches the recording. But we open this space to allow people to just take a break, to allow people just to rest. Our session always has the same shape. So we do 4 different breath styles. And in this session, we're going to open with breath awareness. We're going to move into triangle breath. Then we're going to do nose, mouth, gentle, conscious, connected breathing. And we're going to finish with coherence breath. Now, you don't have to remember any of that because we will guide you through it. But just some people, I know I like to know what's happening beforehand. So that's what we're going to be doing in this session. Each of the breath segments will open with birdsong and it'll close with silence. And the birdsong, the breath, and the silence together are what does the absolute magic. The birdsong we open with, because the birdsong, well, it brings you into your parasympathetic nervous system. And the reasoning behind that is in the past, long, long ago, when our ancestors heard birdsong, they knew it was safe because they knew if the birds were singing, there were no predators. And our brains, although we have come so far from that, our brains still remember that. So when we hear birdsong, it's an automatic signal to our brains that we're safe. And a lot of the magic that happens when we do conscious breathing of any kind needs safety in order for it to be able to work its absolute magic. The silence also brings us into our parasympathetic nervous system. And as well as just bringing us into the parasympathetic nervous system, it begins all the processes that happen in our body when we have that feeling of safety and the space and time for our body to do it. Because once we have the silence and the birdsong and the safety and we're in our parasympathetic nervous system, we don't need to be on alert. And when our system isn't on alert, then the other systems in our body can do all the things that they need to do. And that is rest, and that is digest, and that is also create new neural pathways in our brain. All those things happen when we give our body time and space, and when our body knows that it's safe. And that's why the silence and birdsong and breath together are so, so powerful. We have one rule here, and that rule is be comfortable. So please make sure that you do everything you need to look after your physical comfort. So when you're breathing, if you need to move, please move. The one thing we would ask you don't do is stand up, because when you change your breathing, you change things inside your body. And that can cause maybe feelings of dizziness. And if you stand up quickly, there is a danger that you would be lightheaded and you would fall. But you are at home and someone or something may look for your attention while we're doing this. And if that happens, just allow your breathing to come back to its natural rhythm and stay with that for a short time. And then slowly get up, just feeling into check if your head isn't, if you're not lightheaded and you're not dizzy, and just to keep you safe. Any other movements, please feel free. Sometimes when we're breathing, well, sometimes we just get uncomfortable. And please move. If you need to turn over, please do that. But also sometimes something can feel kind of stuck, and just adjusting slightly can help that. And check in during the session, check in a few times to make sure that you're still comfortable, because we've kind of numbed that part of our brain, I think, sometimes, and we don't even notice that we're not comfortable. So just check in sometimes to make sure you're comfortable. The other thing you may feel you want to do is bring voice into the session. So the breath of the month last month was bee breath, and that comes with a hum. And sometimes a sigh might be something that might help in a session. And if you're in a place where it's okay to do that, please bring voice in, because you're all muted. So you're not going to affect anything in the session. So just checking in with your body and noticing what it needs and noticing what might help as we go through the session. Now, I did say we have one rule, and that's be comfortable. And now I'm going to tell you, you may not always be comfortable. But breathwork, by its very nature, brings us to places maybe that feel a little less comfortable, maybe feel a little sticky, maybe feel just a little bit, I don't say unpleasant, but maybe even unpleasant at times. And the invitation is to sit with that discomfort. It is absolutely not to push through it or to get rid of it, it's not any of that. It's just simply to sit with the discomfort and notice what's there. Sometimes we learn something about it. Sometimes it begins to soften. And it's just that awareness of it. Always knowing that if it becomes a situation where, no, it doesn't feel right anymore, you can bring your breathing back to its natural rhythm, and that discomfort will begin to subside. So the invitation is to sit with it. If in this session you're going, absolutely not this week, not today, that's also okay. All the breaths we offer you are invitations. Now, I would invite you to try each of the breaths. Even you've tried it before and you didn't like it, I would still invite you to try it in this session, because the breaths affect us differently at different times. So even if, as I read out the breath styles that we're going to use, you thought, oh, I really don't like that one, the invitation is to give it a go. Always knowing that you are in complete charge of this session and you can bring your natural breath rhythm back anytime you like. And it's not that you won't get the benefit of the session, because you absolutely will. You'll get what you need from the session if you listen to what your body needs. And that may not be some of the breath styles that we offer you. So listening to what you need, listening to what feels right for you in this session. Also knowing that may bring you to places that feel slightly less than comfortable. But you're in control of that. The final thing I have to say is you can do this lying down or you can do this seated. If you're going to do it seated, we would ask that you're properly supported. And it's quite useful to have your head supported too, because it's a long time to have to support your own head on your neck. So maybe a chair where you can put your head back. If you're lying down, make sure that the pillow or whatever you're lying on is not very high, because you want the air to be able to move freely in and out, and you don't want to be constricting your airways in any way. Okay, that felt like a lot of talking. I think that's everything. So that all being said, make yourself comfortable, because we're going to begin. So just making yourself comfortable and just noticing what you've brought. And as the birdsong begins, just being aware of the thoughts. Maybe start with the thoughts in this session. Being aware of all the thoughts that are floating about in your head. And sometimes the thoughts are really busy, and sometimes they're not. And just noticing that. And noticing it without judgment. Knowing that whatever way it is, it's absolutely perfect. And then maybe noticing your body. Noticing if there are areas, maybe there's pain or tension or tightness. Maybe there's tingling or heat or lightness. And just noticing that, bringing it into your awareness without questioning it or Wishing it was another week, just noticing. And then noticing how you feel. And maybe it's very obvious and you know exactly how you feel, and maybe it's not, and you don't have to search. Just seeing what's there. And now bringing your focus to your breath. And there's no need to change your breath, but noticing what your breath's like. Where is your breath entering and leaving your body? With your nose or your mouth? And what parts of your body can you feel moving as the breath enters and leaves? You can feel it in your nose, your mouth, or your chest. Or maybe your belly. Maybe you can feel it in your belly because your breath's going deep into your lungs. And just noticing that, you're not feeling the need to change it in any way. And how does your breath feel right now? Maybe it feels soft and gentle. Maybe it feels stuck. Maybe it feels thicky or jagged, and again, just noticing that. Maybe you're finding it difficult to find your breath or keep your attention on your breath. And just noticing that as well. And if you find your attention beginning to drift, just gently bringing it back when you notice. And maybe just because you've brought attention to it, maybe your breath is changing. That's okay. your breath to be the anchor. Knowing that you can come back to it, regardless of what else takes your attention. You can come back to your breath. We're going to move into our first time of silence and just bringing the breath and resting. Nothing else you need to do, just rest.
And as the birdsong begins and brings the silence gently to a close, just noticing how you felt during that silence. Notice how it feels to bring your awareness to your breath and to your place in the world right now. We begin to turn our attention to the next segment. And in this next segment, we're going to breathe with the triangle breath. We're going to inhale, exhale, and then hold for a little before we repeat. Inhale, exhale, and hold. And the inspiration for this is the fact that Mercury went retrograde earlier this week and just invites us to take a pause. And so that's what we're doing with this breath. We're going to just take a little rest, a little pause each time we breathe. Now, you don't need to worry about the length of your inhale or your exhale. Just let your body find a rhythm that works for you. And don't push, don't hold your breath for longer than you feel you need to. Just let your body be your guide, very gently. Inhale, exhale, and pause. And again in your own time, inhale, exhale, and pause. And as we move through this segment, just notice what's happening with your breath. Are you bringing your breath in through your nose? Maybe you can move the focus to an inhale through the nose and an exhale through the nose. And just gently pausing at the bottom of the breath after the exhale. Keep coming back to your breath. Inhale and exhale and a pause. Maybe as the track progresses, you can slow the breath down just a little. Remember, no pushing though, just gently slowing the breath. Inhale, exhale, and pause. And on your next exhale, just letting your breath return to its natural rhythm. Noticing how you feel as you let that triangle breath fall away. And then once again, just rest in the silence, nice and gentle.
And as the birdsong begins again, reflecting on what that silence felt like. And how it was compared to the first silence. And in our next segment, we're still going to focus on that rest, on that idea of resting, pausing for a rest. And the breath style we're going to use here is a connected breath, but a very gentle connected breath. I'm going to invite you to breathe in through your nose and out through your open mouth. And gently bring the breath in through your nose and then just let it fall out through your open mouth without any need to push or make it anything in particular. And maybe on some of your exhales, maybe there'll be sighs and welcoming those. So gently bringing the breath in through your nose and then just allowing it to flow out in its own way. And find your own rhythm. as you find your rhythm, noticing are there spaces between the inhale and exhale, between the exhale and inhale? Are there gaps? Pauses or gaps, seeing can you make those really small? So that the breath feels like one continuous breath. The waves coming in on the beach. Then just to remind us of that idea of taking a pause, of stopping for a moment. At the end of your next exhale, just pausing the breath, holding the breath until you feel you need to breathe again. And again, we're not pushing here. Again, we're not looking for long breath hold times. Just taking a pause. And then allowing your breath to go back to normal for a couple of breaths. And then back into the connected breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Keeping the inhale gentle and just allowing the exhale to be what it is. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Again, we're going to take a pause to remind us that in the continuous activity that we can pause. So at the bottom of your next exhale, just pausing. Just stopping the breath for a few seconds or as long as feels comfortable. Then bringing your natural breath rhythm back. And then back to the in through your nose and out through your mouth for just another few breaths. Maybe introducing one or two sighs at this point as we approach the silence. to its natural pattern as we rest again.
And as the birdsong begins again, just noticing how that silence felt. Maybe it had the same quality, maybe it was different. And just being aware, there's no judgment here. It's just about noticing and maybe wondering. I wonder. And we're moving towards our final breath in this midweek pause. And we're going to breathe with coherent breath, bringing balance and harmony to the breath. So we're going to inhale for an equal count, and we're going to exhale for an equal count, both through the nose. And you can count in your head. You can find a rhythm in the music or in your own body. Or you might want to use your hands, your fingers, bringing your finger to your thumb as you count the inhale and the exhale. So we're going to try that with a count of 4 as the music begins. So exhaling, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Just noticing how that rhythm felt, and either staying with it if it suits you, or slowing the breath down or speeding the breath up, depending what you need in this moment. And as your breath settles into that harmonious rhythm, just noticing whether it needs to slow down maybe as you find your rhythm. Or maybe the opposite, maybe you need to breathe just a little faster. Finding your place of comfort in this breath, a place that feels like nourishment and like support. And we're in the last 2 minutes. So just check in again, bringing your attention to your breath. And just tuning into what your body needs in this moment. As we move into the last 30 seconds, just allowing your breath to return back to its natural rhythm on the next exhale. Begin to reflect on how you feel now. Perhaps wondering what this final silence of the session might have in store for you.
As the bird song begins for a final time in this session, just taking a moment to reflect on what that last silence had for you. Maybe to reflect on the session as a whole. And maybe you notice that things are different than when we began. And maybe they're exactly the same. Now we're going to begin to come back to the physical space we're in and to the Zoom room. So just introducing some gentle movement wherever your body feels like it needs to be moved. Might be stretching, be yawning. Maybe it's just moving your fingers and toes. Being aware of that connection between you and the surface under you and the earth under that. And if your eyes are still closed, maybe opening them and having a look around. Looking at the physical space that you're in. And then remembering that you're also with us in the Zoom room and slowly making your way back to the Zoom room.
As you're bringing yourself back, and there's no rush, I'll just bring your awareness to some notices in the chat box if you're live. and they'll be underneath the recording, underneath the video if you're watching the video. And that's the first thing to say, that the recording will go up on our YouTube channel at The Exhale Awakening on YouTube. And it will also go into the Exhale library. Both of those are free to access, but the Exhale library has no ads. So if you want to see the full breathwork without any ads, then pop over there. There's also lots of other things that you can see in the library, like little short versions of each of the breathworks, all organised beautifully in there. And the links for both of those are in the chat. And the second link, the community link, if you click on that, you also see the other tiers of the community that we'd love you to investigate, especially Acorns, which is our first tier. In Acorns, we are all breath keepers. So we all hold a day a month where we hold the community in our energy, in our thoughts. And we do that just for an hour and 11 minutes, sometime during that day. And we're hoping to get 30 breath keepers so that we have a different breath keeper every day and that the community is always held for the full month. And we'd love it if you felt a call to that, to come on over and find out a little bit more about it. And then finally, because we breathed briefly not finally, of course, we've got our directory listing in there, which we love to get a review. So if you did feel like clicking on the directory link and giving us a review, then of course, that would be very gratefully received. But the real finally is because we breathed with Mercury today, or one of the reasons why we breathed with Mercury today is because we work with Mercury in our life and business program. And we're just coming to the end of one cycle and we're about to start another. And there's an introduction to how we work with Mercury happening on the 7th of July at 7:30 p.m. And if you're in the community, please don't buy a ticket to the intro. It comes free just with you being in the community. If you're not in the community, it's £11. So just a small contribution towards running the session. Oh, and I think that's it, except to say, take care of yourself. Although this session has been very gentle, breathwork, whenever we bring our awareness to it, is a powerful and profound practice. So just allow whatever has happened for you to unfold over the next day or so. It inevitably does, and the breath shows us what we need to know in all situations. So yeah, just be aware of what happens. Keep an eye on yourself. Hydrate well, eat well, sleep well, all of the things that you know to do. I just invite you to be a little bit more cognizant of them over the next couple of days. And on that note, we're going to stop the recording and invite you to share your experience if you wish. And if you are watching the recording, you can share your experience below as well.